Thumos, the Unbroken, has a ship in that base. It's the only way we can get you onto the Almighty undetected. So you're going to steal it.
Newsflash, folks. The Fallen are on the move. Seems they didn't learn their lesson the first time. Scavenging vultures, those Fallen. Always turn up when you don't want them. Kind of like a warlock when you're...
Go on.
Nothing? No. I'm done.
Hey guys, what's up? We're back with some more Destiny 2 action, and today we're going to be doing the, Oh, hello. Whoa, is that the, Yes, it is. So, okay, so I was going to do a legendary bow review. So this guy here is carrying the exotic bow. Good for him. So, the legendary bows, we have 3 of them. One of them is called the... What is it? Can't really do this. The No Turning Back bow, this is the only kinetic bow that we have. The Subtle Calamity, this is a Void combat bow. And the Arsenic Bite, the Arc combat bow. These are the 3 legendary bows that exist at the moment. And then of course, as you see with that guy that was in front of us, there is that exotic bow. So this bow here, No Turning Back, I have colored it with the raid boss's colors, the first raid boss's colors. And it's pretty good. It has an explosive head perk that you can choose from. So that means that Thunderbolt is a thing that exists with this particular bow. For those who don't play Warframe at all, Thunderbolt is a mod which allows arrows to have a 30% chance of exploding upon impact. With this bow, it is a 100% explosion chance on impact, which is fantastic. This means that this bow does a lot of extra damage, and also it does a bit of AoE as well, which makes this the only bow that I have that actually does AoE. Now if we had a lens in this game, or something like a lens in this game, that would be fantastic, but unfortunately that's not a thing that exists. Now one thing to note with this bow is that the explosive head does not do any self-damage. Just then it looked like I did self-damage, but I actually didn't do self-damage. I merely got shot at the same time as the thing exploded. And one thing that this bow seems to really prefer, like all bows, at least, as far as I can tell, is precision hits are the way to go with these bows.
Get to it before it's
like I said, that's the same with all 3 of these bows, so that's not really something worth comparing with. And of course, precision hits, generally speaking, are the way to go anyway, so there's no real point of contention right there. Now because this bow is a kinetic bow, this bow is not particularly good against anyone with shields. Naturally, anyone with void shields or arc shields, or frankly even solar shields, you'll want to go with one of the other 2 bows. Luckily, this bow being a kinetic bow basically makes it a primary bow, so you can carry 2 bows as I do right now. Speaking of the second bow, let's have a look at our Subtle Calamity. Now Subtle Calamity is potentially my favorite bow in the game. Just straight up, like, except for my mood swings between this bow and Subtle and No Turning Back, mostly because No Turning Back has that sentimental value of being the first bow that you ever receive, unless you were somehow lucky enough, mind you, to actually get another bow from a drop. I unfortunately was not so lucky, and I got my first bow during the stream through Petra. Oh crap, I'm about to die! Oh, I'm dead. Oh, that didn't work. So yeah, this bow, Subtle Calamity, is actually really strong. Specifically when used with something like the Nazareth Sin. So Nazareth Sin, for those who don't play Warlocks, is the Warlock exotic helmet which allows void damage to quickly recharge grenades and melee attacks. This makes this bow super duper extra level, like just hilarious strong when clearing ads, for example, because this bow will basically one-shot most ads outside of maybe a handful of particularly heavy grunts of the sort. As a result, because of that, the void damage actually means that you... Whoa, crap! The void damage actually means that you can... Well, the void kill, sorry, actually means that you can just throw grenades all over the place, which makes it really strong. From time to time, I do find that this bow, just for whatever reason, outperforms No Turning Back, especially on precision kills, even against regular enemies where kinetic damage is theoretically supposed to do more damage, like this bow seems to do more damage anyway, especially on precision hits. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that. I have actually modded it with, I think, a major spec. It's either this one or the other, or No Turning Back has the major spec, and the other one has the minor spec, which does make it do more damage against majors and minors, respectively. Let's get rid of this dude, and let's then talk about the least favorite of the bows, which is, let's see. Well, that didn't work. Hold on. Let's see. What, I can't change the Arsenic Bite? Okay, guess not. So I guess we have to change the old-fashioned way. I was kind of hoping to use DIM, but I guess not. Can't have everything, eh? So this is the Arsenic Bite. Now this bow is unlike the other two bows. It is not a combat bow, i.e. a compound, composite, whatever you want to call it, bow. It is in fact a recurve bow. Now one thing I do notice with this bow as opposed to the other bows is that the arrow travels really fast. Like it's a very, is that a prime engram? A very fast projectile, which makes this bow really good in terms of like aiming. No, it's not a thingo, it's just a regular old thing. So that thing is probably only 500, which means I'm going to shard that thing the moment I get some time to actually do that. But like the damage of this bow is ultimately less because it is a recurve bow. Like that's apparently a function of it being a recurve bow. It has less impact than the combat bows, but this bow is definitely easier to aim because the arrow travels a lot faster, meaning you basically don't have to calculate. There's less math to do with curvature involved with this bow, and like you can kind of just aim kind of willy-nilly and figure it out from there. I ultimately don't really like this bow all that much, but I can see it being way more useful for, say, PvP, which I don't care about. But that being said, like it being useful for PvP is certainly a thing that it has. Because it's so fast, it means that you know you don't have to like this. That's the thing about PvP in Warframe, for example. Like the game where everyone moves so fast, it basically means that without like non-hit scan weapons are practically useless, and this bow kind of feels like it's hit scan. Like, yes, there is an arrow, but there's literally no travel time, which makes this bow hit scan. So bows in general are actually really good. I'm really liking the way they feel at the moment. The moment I get the exotic bow, I'm sure I'll make a video about it, because the way it looks, the way it sounds, basically what it does. Its exotic perk basically turns it into a Xernos Prime with a really good electric proc for those who play Warframe and this game. So that's definitely something worth using, especially since Xernos Prime is actually really good, and therefore that bow in general should actually be really good. Ultimately, like I said, my favorite bow would have to be Subtle Calamity, which I am going to equip back in. And there is no real reason to carry two bows, because once you're using one bow, you're basically good to go. That kind of rhymes. But, you know, I just do it for shits and giggles. I mean, it's not like I'm going to be bothering with literally any other weapon aside from maybe my my submachine gun, which is really strong. But that submachine gun being a void submachine gun means that it has to replace my Subtle Calamity. So really iffy on that one. I'd rather just stick to using this thing, because this thing is fantastic. Now, one thing I don't like about bows in general is that there is a maximum draw time, and that seems a little silly. In Warframe, aside from like the die queue and I think the lens, your bows have infinite draw time. And by draw time, I mean hold time. Not infinite actual drawing time. Also, one thing that I think Bungie could do with their UI is they could actually make longer or higher draw time a negative as opposed to a positive thing, because right now, like, I'm not 100% sure what the idea behind the draw time stat on the Arsenal is. On the loadout is, but when it goes up, to suggest that it takes longer to draw, because the combat bows take longer to draw than the recurve bows. That's like the idea. That's the premise of the recurve bows and the combat bows. So, like, when you look at that statistic, it actually, like, it being a higher, like, a longer time to draw, apparently, is a plus. Unless the draw time is actually supposed to be some sort of value where 760 as a number, like, means it draws faster? Question mark? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's like a 1 over 760, I don't know. But that could definitely be looked into, I think, make it a little bit easier for everyone to understand what it is you're trying to convey with the draw time for these bows. Uh-oh. Okay, let's see. That was a little bit scary, but let's move on. Oh. What the? So, I think this one has the major spec and my other one has the minor spec. So you see this one does 1,500 damage. That one does 1,600 damage. I don't really understand, like, the relationship in damage between these bows, because sometimes my Subtle Calamity does way more damage than my No Turning Back. Sometimes my No Turning Back does way more damage than my Subtle Calamity. It just, I don't know, it just seems really, like, hilariously inconsistent. But of course, the explosive arrowhead, i.e. what I call Thunderbolt, the Thunderbolt perk is just really, really strong anyway, so that's always good to go. Some sort of a cutscene, I don't care.
Our plan relies on you.
Yeah, so that's all of the bows, all three of them, Subtle Calamity, No Turning Back, and Arsenic Bite. Basically, if I were to rank them, it would be a real toss-up between Subtle Calamity and No Turning Back as to which one is first, and the other one being second, and then Arsenic Bite just basically being third, sort of trailing by a tiny bit, not a lot, but I definitely would not take it out for anything outside of an Arc Singe, or if Arc Burn ever shows up again, an Arc Burn heroic of some sort. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, hit the like button. If you really enjoyed it, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. And until next time, which may very well be a Warframe video about Nezha, I don't know. But until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.